Welcome to Audible Interlude, a Cobra podcast. I'm your host, no longer a Cobra intern. I've climbed up the ladder, codename Legion Cub.
And I am former Surgeon General C. Everett Koop, a.k.a. Crapshoot. I had a mishap with the mustache there. So
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
I looked a little Amish today. Or a little evil. One or the other.
Welcome to all of our listeners. You are here at the Audible Interlude live stream, part of the Needless Things Network. Typically, this is where Dave does all of his introduction stuff. We're not doing that because Cobra is all about the chaos. And that's what we're bringing to the show tonight. So, guess what? We got hats. You want them? You better buy them from us at DragonCon. You want to join our Patreon? It's $1.99. That's it. It's got a bunch of extra stuff. You want to not be the cool kid? You want to be missing out? Ha ha. Then don't join it. Whatever. So, let's start the show. Wreckship 85 is here. Swordsman 007, Silent Interlude, Wreckship 85. Since Dave is gone, I submit that I be temporarily called Colonel Wreckship 85 for the ending. Sold.
Temporary promotion.
Dave is gone. And thanks to Operation Airport by Cobra, he's probably not coming back.
Yeah, that's right.
He is in
may
Texas.
Have ruined the airport forever at this point with this whole CrowdStrike thing.
Yeah, I didn't realize how easy it was. Just flip
Unplug
the Atari 26 switch from game to TV, and we have shut down transportation for America. All right. So, not to make this too off-putting for everybody, we do have the tiniest bit of news. The G.I. Joe Hasbro kickoff panel is this Thursday, the 25th at 5 p.m. So this is where they're going to announce the HasLab. So
yeah, there's some very fake looking pictures that have been going around that look like yeah. And I think we all know what the HasLab is going to be, but the pictures that have been leaked on Reddit that even like very respected folks in the G.I. Joe journalism world have shared recently, I was like, that looks very fake.
Interesting. Well, we'll get to it later on during Sound Off, but one of our Sound Offs actually got me thinking. It's probably not correct, but man, I wish it was, because that first teaser they put out with the Rattler insignia, I was like, well, that takes most of the guessing out. So
yeah. I saw people saying like it could be a fire bat. I'm like, it's not going to be a fire bat.
I just want them to throw a curveball to make everybody be like, what?
And then I said, well, maybe that means it's a terror drone. I could spend
if we couldn't get a Cobra mothership, I fear to think what a terror drone.
A 6-inch, yes, a classified scale terror drone.
But also, don't forget, if you want your Cobra Commander wants a man figure, they should go up this week. So,
I mean, well, this is presuming that it's going to be available to the general public at some point, because Right now, it's what a lottery at the convention only is the way that you can actually get your hands on one.
Yeah. And then they also said, they're going to have some name reveals, some previously unannounced stuff, some renders, which we'll get to renders in a little bit because I got to tell you, we have always said, don't go by the renders as much. And I feel like the recent retro wave has definitely cemented that for me.
Mhm.
But in other news, Hiya Toys announced their 4-inch um, Crimson Guard. Any thoughts, Noel?
As I've thought the whole time, these Hiya Toys figures to me look way better than the official Hasbro 4-inch like figures of this articulation. Like this is a great looking figure. I'm not collecting these, but if I were, I'd be excited about it. It's this is I think this is the first troop builder they've done
Mm-hmm.
with the Hiya Toys. So some people are going to be spending a lot of money on this
Yep.
4.1-inch figure.
I gotta say, after Joe Fest and seeing all of the various, seeing the Super 7 O rings and a lot of the other companies that are doing O rings, my excitement for this has actually died down, and I canceled the pre-orders that I have that still have never been charged or shipped. I feel like if somebody has these at a convention and I lay eyes on it, it's gonna pull me in. Um,
Yeah, and especially
but
it depends on what they're selling for. I was actually really surprised because I saw a lot of the 112 Destro figures that were actually less than what the pre-order price was at Joe Fest. So
oh,
yeah, they were selling for like $79.
Wreckship85 wants to know: has Haya done any other kind of base besides the vague dirt colored one? Not for the Joe line, as far as I can remember. It's all been that.
And I'm sure Dave hates it because he hates anything that's weathered.
uh, very, very true. I saw custom somebody put up on eBay of some 3D printed 3 3/4 inch bats, but they were weathered, and by weathered they mean they just splatter brown paint on them. And I was like, well, I know who would love that. Hey, we have Kevin Riddle in the house. Welcome. All right. So, uh, everybody out there, who has gotten their hands on the new retro wave? So the uh Cobra Eel shipped, which is essentially the same.
I got the
Um,
notification that my Cobra Eel had shipped, and I thought that I hadn't ordered them. So literally, I got them out of the box, and I immediately just threw them up on eBay because I was like, "What am I going to do with these?" They haven't sold yet because I had originally bought 4 of the original eels off of Amazon. I put 2 of them up on eBay after opening the first 2 and thinking I only need 2 of these. And thankfully I sold them when they were still going for like $80. Now those things are those things are like less than retail at this point on the
oh
secondary
wow.
market. And this one, I mean, these are going for about retail. So I just listed them at like, $27.99. I just figure if I get the money
Mm.
back for them, I'm fine with it. And if they never sell, it's fine. I got more Joe figures.
And what did you think of? Because I know you had canceled
I
your
love them.
original ones.
His
Um,
colors are so great.
right?
I'm not so bothered about the snowshoes. Yeah, I would have preferred him to have the traditional snowshoes. Um, but no, I really, really like the figure. He pops very, very well.
Definitely. Um, I yeah, that blue. Like when the first one came out, obviously I still liked it. Um, But until I had it side by side with this one, I was like, ah. But I've got 3, so I'm gonna. The first one is gonna be with the wolf camouflage, and then these 2 will be troop builders. But yeah, and now what I think was the surprise hit, because I gotta say, originally I was not going to order Beachhead because I thought the first Beachhead was good enough. Um, but so here we have Cobra Island Beachhead with his beret. Like, to me, it evoked enough Beachhead that this is, oh,
And
it
with what
does
they
the
were
job.
doing at the line at the time, it made sense because they were updating them. They were giving them, looks that were familiar but new. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, but again, just like that Arctic, as soon as I put them next to each other, that the difference in the green is, it's just so much better. Like, he sticks out on the shelf now. The camo is, I think, really well done. And I had originally also planned on repainting the weapons, but with this version, the green doesn't bother me.
yeah, I mean, I'm still not crazy about the green gun. I'm glad that he has at least something he can carry that is black. I haven't opened them up yet just because I don't have room on my shelf, and I've got to decide what I'm going to do with the other beachhead in the interim. But I love the fact that they do have the submachine gun that is like the one that the original figure had.
Hmm.
I just wish it was not that color. Make it gray like the original figure.
Now, are you going to, because we know you love a good beret, are you going to keep the beret from your Cobra Island one, or are you
No,
good with
he
shoulder
has his
beret?
beret. It's
I
just
know, but he
where it
can't
should
wear
be.
it.
Well, yeah, but
Oh,
it'd be silly if he had one on his head and on his shoulder at the same time.
it would be silly if Dusty was wearing 2 pairs of goggles at the same time, but he still came with
It's
it.
true. It's true. Thankfully, because we had to use the other one to keep his helmet on.
Ah, true.
Oh, Dusty.
Kevin Riddle says, other than the weapons, Cobra Island Beachhead is a good figure. I don't
It's a good figure.
disagree.
Yeah, and as I said, I like it just fine. I just wish that it was, I at the time I just wished it was a little bit more like the retro, and now we got the retro, so happy with
Yeah.
it. I like the vest with the with the clips and everything looks a lot better too.
Yeah. So the only thing, let me pull this back up. The the only piece that once I like geared him up that I was like, oh, this doesn't work that well is his ammo bag with the grenades on it. At least with mine, that strap is such a hard plastic that it
Mhm.
doesn't, it like wants to sit out like that. So
Yeah, those and that was the problem with the old figures too, is those straps just never worked out right.
yeah, but I am trying to figure out, because I do like the little grenades. I
Hmm.
just don't want to stretch the handles out by trying to get it around the thick plastic of the vest.
Yeah,
All right. So that's it for the news. Now
I like
we
Rexship 85's comment. The question is, will he be wearing his beret correctly, or will he wear it
oh,
backwards like the original figure did?
speaking of Dusty and berets, Dusty version 3 and Sandstorm soon, hopefully. I think you're right, mainly because I feel like Dusty, we got that Tiger Force Dusty fairly quickly, so I think they obviously like him, and they do like doing the pets.
And really, I mean, Sandstorm is going to be a new mold, but you can cobble that together with so many existing pieces. You've already got the head. Um, you can, I mean, you can come up with a it's just got if you're just going to use that same plunging like sleeveless sweater that he's wearing. That's an easy mold right there. But the legs and everything, you can all use parts. Same with the arms, probably.
Yeah, and we've got the desert version Snake Eyes, so we kind of need to have someone going with him.
Yeah.
Hillbilly Harper's in the house.
Hey, hillbilly.
Welcome. Glad to have you here before your fun nights start. Um, so real quickly, I do want to let you all know we were hoping to keep it kind of like as a surprise. We do have a special guest that will be joining us at some point during the show. So when we get into our next segment here, if we do have to switch, I think you guys are going to be rather surprised because Dave didn't think we could pull it off. All right. So that's it really for the news and the recent figures. Did we talk about Night Force Falcon and
No, we have not done a stream since
Coral?
then. Yeah,
Oh,
that was
see,
announced this past week.
yeah, I totally didn't pull up a slide because it feels like when we have our text chats, I'm like, oh, we talked about that a while back.
Yeah, well, that was the Walmart Collectors Club, or what was the Walmart? Was that what it's called?
Yeah, their thing.
Yeah, but that went live the other day. And yeah, I mean, I said I want that Coral figure, but not enough to buy another Falcon figure. And and I said I also, because the original Quarrel came with the Z Force or Z Force motorcycle, the Ram cycle, and I would have loved to have seen Quarrel come with that. So maybe they'll redo it. I doubt it.
They should have done her instead of
So Shockwave,
Shockwave.
yeah.
That would
But
have made
that's
a
also
lot.
like that Shockwave was specifically like a Night Force bike, so it wouldn't have worked in that color. It would have to have been that brighter green with the big red.
Right.
Yeah.
So the good Colonel says Falcon got his glow up. That
Yes.
is also true. And I did wonder, is Hasbro playing us like, oh, you want that human looking head for Falcon finally? You're going to have to buy this 2-pack. Okay. So moving on, what we kind of wanted to talk about tonight. Oh, have you guys seen the Noel variant for Beachhead? What?
Look at that. I was much
Yeah,
less gray at
apparently
that point when they
packed
molded my head.
one for every 20 cases. So keep your eye out for that priceless figure.
See, you never knew if you take that balaclava off, it's just me under there the whole time.
Right. So, and now we know when you put the balaclava on, much like you suggested last week, the eyes are just painted.
Hmm?
Because when you pull it off, you're wearing glasses.
I mean, I'm not from Auburn, Alabama, but I'm 2 hours away from it, so I could be beachhead. You never know.
All right. So moving on. Way back in the early days of the podcast, we had mentioned getting our hands on Toy Fair 85 catalog, and we just have never really had the time to kind of talk about it. So we thought tonight would be a good chance. So Toy Fair, as we've discussed before, is the big industry convention. Used to happen at the beginning of the year, used to happen like every February. This is where the toy companies take these catalogs and some product to sell to the distributor. So back then, this would have been your Walmarts, your Hills, your Kmarts. So
Zaire, Service
theirs.
Merchandise,
Yep. So they would
Vinyl Play World.
look through, see all the stuff in there, and go, yes, we want this. We'll take this. We'll take this. We won't take this. So it kind of lets the toy companies know, whether or not they're really going to go through with making. But obviously, G.I. Joe was at a high point in 1985. So everything we're going to show you uh, got made. I think there's a few surprises in here. But obviously, you can see the new for 85 figures. And
the 83 and 84 figures that are left over as well.
Yep. So something that caught my eye, if you remember when Dave was showing the Wish Book catalog, how where Snow Job was, they just put like this tiny bit of snow in the middle of, the street or whatever. But here, no, him, like, he's like, I'm just gonna ski on the sand.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do.
Why not? I noticed that. So yeah, because I was always thinking under the impression that these figures were on the shelf for like 2 years for the most part at the time. But we have Gung Ho, we have Destro, as 83 figures who carried over. Was Snow Job Snow Job was 80. Why can't I think? Was he 83? And Torpedo too, right? Or was Torpedo 84? Duke was like 83.5. But yeah, so we have a few of those from the 83 that are still left over. That's always interesting to see that.
And Silent Interlude says Torpedo is way worse off than Snow Job.
At least he decided to carry his flippers, though, because
yeah.
But the Snow Serpent is on his snowshoes.
Well, and after watching The Revenge of Cobra, I'm surprised that Duke isn't having some PTSD out in the middle of the desert. And you also notice Mutt is Junkyard is just kind of staring off into space as he does when needed.
I thought he was just checking out the Baroness.
Could be. Who is shooting torch for some reason.
And then like there's some color, like Dusty got way more like variance in his color. Like he's like that brown is very dark on him. And it looks like the Televiper, and it may just be the image itself, but the Televiper looks like he's a brighter blue than what we wound up getting.
And that's the thing also with a lot of what you'll see in the catalog. For the new stuff, these aren't the final figures. So these are usually like, the final test figures that the factory has made and sent to them. But there's usually paint variances or sculpt variances as we are getting ready to go into. I don't think I included the page, but I want to bring up, you notice where it says TV down in the corner. The first page of their G.I. Joe section goes into detail about the ratings of the miniseries. And now, starting in 1985, you are getting daily episodes, and how with the daily episode, that's going to drive kids to the stores to buy the figures. So anything that's going to feature on TV, they put that little plug on there. And I found that very interesting because I feel like it's you definitely want this. You definitely want this. But next up is the Crimson Twins, Tomax and Zaymont. And what do you notice about them?
They have looks like some different hairdos than we're used to.
Yeah, their head sculpts are completely different.
Hmm.
It the sculpt itself kind of reminds me of the Fisher Price Adventure people. But
Yeah,
by
they are a
this,
little bit more like bulky and
yeah,
yeah.
but by this point, they should have, like, Joe is making money. They shouldn't be using other figures to mock up. So I would be curious to find out um, at what point that changed. And then, of course, you can see the battle packs. We've got Zartan. Uh, but I also wanted to point out for the Classics team, they make a point of showcasing the zip line with the Crimson Twins. So
Mhm.
if we get a classified weapons pack, I still want a zip line.
I do love the silver guns. I wish we'd gotten those. Um, yeah, and yeah, classified. I think that selling these, I don't know if we want a like a retro 2-pack with them in the zip line, because really there's not much else you can do to them to retroify them. But
I
as
think we
just
learned from the the Crimson Trio set that people
well,
aren't keen on getting some Tomax and Zaymot variants.
or the fact that you could walk into any Ross in the country and like stumble over a pile of either Tomaxes or Zaymots, depending on which one you went to.
Right?
It was weird because I hardly ever found them in the same location, but I'd find like a stack of one or the other.
Oh, I think I found them both, but I actually just this past week found a Tomax, a lone Tomax on the shelf again. So I'm getting messaged here. So our special guest is signing in. Oh, Wreckship 85. My Crimson Strike team is coming Wednesday. LOL. Finally had a spare $50 to plop on them.
Yeah,
I
I was tempted when they went on sale.
I think that's a much better price for them than what they were initially. So I'm gonna be curious to hear on our next episode or our next live stream what you thought of them.
There were so many Joe figures that I wish I had not bought when they were new. Once Prime Day rolled around, because there's so many of his deluxes that were like less than a regular figure.
Yeah. So real quickly before I bring in our special guest, mainly because this photo just cracks me up. So the Snowcat was new in 1985, and in the description they do make a point, actually with all the vehicles, of letting you know how many figures a vehicle could carry, and the Snowcat can carry 10 figures. I don't think I ever put that many on there because that just looks insane
Yeah,
to me.
and dangerous, very very
Right?
dangerous.
Like they can't shoot their ski pedos or they're gonna take out Flint and Snow Job and
Or their
Barbecue
regular
and
torpedoes, because they're like, I mean,
yeah,
what are these guys hanging on to when they're up there?
good question. Because it's just, I mean, it's just a foot peg. They don't have handrails. GI Joe and OSHA did not go hand in hand.
See, maybe in the world of GI Joe, it was a very, they were experimenting with all this sciency stuff, and they actually were incorporating actual foot pegs into human feet, that would bond with these vehicles, and that's why foot pegs were over all these different
All the
War
rage.
vehicles. Yeah,
All right. So let me give me a second here to get our special guest up. All right. Audible Army listeners, watchers, are you ready for the guest that Dave, Phantom Troublemaker, said we could not get? I present to you the one and only Cobra Commander. Hello. What? Sorry. Hang on a second. Noel, talk. I don't know why his audio isn't working.
I don't know, technology. It's always weird.
Give me.
Yeah, I'll just improvise for a second.
I mean,
Yeah.
this
Hey,
is
look,
our first time doing this,
it.
so maybe I don't have the skills that Dave does, but okay. I think
I
I got it. Okay. So we're going to try one more time here. Ladies and gentlemen, your Lord and Master, Cobra Commander. Oh, wait. Oh, signal. What?
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 Howdy, buckaroos and buckaresses, your old pal Phantom Troublemaker out here at the Houston Rodeo. I've been transplanted. They assigned me a cowboy hat and some spurs, but I wanted to stop in and say hi to everybody tonight. Howdy, partners.
Yeehaw!
That's right. Give me a yeehaw.
Yeehaw!
I already did.
You are just brimming.
Man, those horses are just standing still back there at the rodeo.
Well, they're very well trained, you know. When you come out here to Houston, Texas, they know how to teach their animals exactly how to just stand and look good in the background.
Horse posing, that's a skill.
And though the stands behind you actually aren't as full as the shelves typically behind you.
Well,
that's how I knew you were someplace different.
It's a lower key rodeo. It's not the big rodeo. It's one of the smaller rodeos, which is why I'm able to stand here and broadcast in the middle of horses standing behind me.
So the O doesn't look like an O. So it looks like you're at the Roadhouse. Is Patrick Swayze there?
No.
Or is it Jake Gyllenhaal?
It's actually quite clever. The O is a bucking bronco.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's how that works.
O.
All right. Well, I can't keep that up for any longer. So I also can't do those. So here's what happened. Everybody knows, or most people probably know about the issues with flights. So we were at the airport on Sunday. I got to get rid of this background too. This is stupid. Hang on. I'll be right back. Noel, talk again.
Oh gosh, you're gonna make me talk again? I don't know what to do with my hands.
They look like big, strong hands.
Oh,
I just know Cobra Commander is going to be peed off with Dave intercepting his signal.
Yeah, no kidding.
There, and I'm going to have to call out sick tomorrow.
He's ruling with an iron fist, and he's gonna be very angry. He will probably call you a fool or perhaps a boob. Oh, Skeletor was more calling people boobs.
Yeah. But
okay, I'm back. You angry boob.
What?
So yeah. Anyway,
your ability to teleport is astounding.
Yeah, right? So no, what happened is the whole family was supposed to go on an exploratory visit to Houston. For anybody that didn't listen to last week's episode, my job is relocating my office from Georgia to Houston, Texas, and we have to make our decision by September 6th. But we are taking an exploratory visit to Houston for me and the family to take a look around Houston. We were supposed to go yesterday, but then whatever the IT thing was that happened, a bunch of flights just randomly got canceled. And our flight was one of them. And we hung out in the airport for like an hour. And I haven't flown since 2006.
Oh,
I
wow.
just, and not for any reason. We just haven't gone anywhere. So I have no idea what's going on. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do about a canceled flight. I have no idea what's happening. We're waiting to hear from the travel agency. And it was just a cluster. But so I sent the guys, for everybody watching right now, I sent the guys a message saying, hey, guess what? I'll see you tomorrow night. But we promised a wild, out of control show. So we wanted to give everybody the opportunity to see Kristian and Noel do their thing.
Love everything up.
Real quick though. No. I had fun with that. I would watch you guys. I would watch your show every week. So I do have one thing to contribute to something you were talking about earlier, though.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Hang on, I'm going to hide your slideshow for a second.
Okay.
So you mentioned the Chase Beachhead figure.
Oh yes,
I was lucky enough to actually get.
Oh my gosh!
One of the Chase Beachheads. That's not going to. There we go.
Wow.
So yeah, I got one every 20. It's not 20. One every 20,000 cases.
Oh.
You get the Noel head alternate. Noel, I bet you know who that is.
I couldn't tell.
That's a Roddy Piper head.
Okay.
with
Which
the
I
rocks.
always get confused between the two when I'm watching wrestling. Like
it's the Rock's sunglasses on a Roddy Piper head. And also I just wanted to mention this muddy, washed up beachhead out of here.
Swordsman 007, he looks like Russell Crowe to me. There you go, Noel. You're an exorcist now.
That was actually a pretty good movie.
I'm anxious to see it.
It was fun.
Silent Interlude. I thought it was Matt Murdock. I love this. Like, Noel, you have so many cosplay opportunities.
Oh my gosh, right? We're expecting big things at Dragon Con this year.
And
also,
one thing I didn't
quick,
get done in time that I wish I had for you was the sock puppets.
Oh,
so we're gonna save that.
Yeah, we'll do a full puppet episode of Audible Interlude at some point.
Yeah, because
real quick, I want to mention
Syphil and Audible.
Since oh my gosh, that's brilliant!
I love that.
Syphil and Audible. So audiblearmy.com, everybody check it out. You can watch right now my reviews of Shockwave and the Night Pursuit and Doc, and reviews are coming of the Tiger Force 2-pack, Wreckage, and the Tiger Paw, and a bunch of other stuff.
Enormous in that.
Yeah.
Audible, right? audiblearmy.com. You get early access to all kinds of stuff, tons of bonus stuff, but all the G.I. Joe reviews on Needless Things YouTube channel. You get early access, $1.99 a month, which Kristian mentioned. Thank you for that. And then they'll be on the Needless Things YouTube channel over the next couple of weeks. There's so much stuff coming out. It had to be spread out. Obviously.
Well, speaking of the Needless Things YouTube channel, since you are here with us now, everybody make sure you also check out the new creator series, because the Brian Flynn episode, I heard it on Audible Interlude, but I believe it's now dropped on your YouTube.
Well, what I did is the creator series is a new thing I'm doing on Needless Things, where I talk to creators. We kicked it off with Brian Flynn. We did 2 hours of just everything, and then I took the 50-ish minutes of G.I. Joe talk and posted just the audio on audiblearmy.com, and that's the only place you can find the edited G.I. Joe version of that. But the full interview is on the Needless Things YouTube channel. Yesterday, if you're watching this live, I posted a new interview with Ken and Steve from Delta 17 Toys, and I have a pretty full lineup of other guests in the coming weeks, because when I planned the creator series, I had no idea this relocation thing was going to happen. I found this out 2 weeks ago, not even 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. So I had no idea my life was going to get turned completely. My life got flipped, turned upside down. only I don't get to live with my rich auntie and uncle in Bel Air. I get to go to the anus of Texas.
Well, Houston is better than some of the other spots.
Well,
but
sure.
I only spent like a day there.
I like Dallas, Fort Worth area, Grapevine, San Antonio. Like there are many other places in Texas. And no offense to anybody that lives in Houston, I'm sure you really enjoy being moist all the time.
And yes,
and fighting cockroaches the size of your foot.
And coyotes. Hillbilly Harper. Everybody, crush that like button.
That's right.
Leave comments. I didn't mention that.
Crush it like a cockroach.
Oh, real quick, Wotaj, is that Dave's native Wilmington accent? Okay, so I'm not actually from Wilmington. I'm originally from Gastonia, North Carolina, raised in Georgia. But if you want to hear not my original accent, an accent that I've never had in my entire life, but that for some reason talking to my dad brings it out of me. I guess it's that desperate need for approval. Listen to the Mongoose interview.
It was the first thing I noticed. I had to comment. I was like, Dave is code switching as he talks to his dad.
Yeah, well, and that's, I mean, it's something that intellectuals do. So that's just one of those things. But yeah, if you want to hear me with an accent that is not native at all, check that out. Is Fred Durst from Gastonia? Is that a fact?
Wow. I thought he was from Florida.
I am. Well, he's definitely
man.
Like I knew somebody who went to high school with him in Florida, but I don't know if he's originally from Gastonia. I will potentially be meeting Fred Durst in just a couple of weeks.
I was today years old learning there is such a place called Gastonia, because if that doesn't sound like a Sunbow made up name for a city, I don't know what is.
Named after the character from Beauty and the Beast, Gastonia.
Dispatch the troops! They're attacking the oil fields in Gastonia.
I remember Gastonia, just from living in Charlotte. So it was,
That's actually where I was born.
Yeah, a town that I was not, was very familiar with because it was just right outside of Charlotte.
Yeah, it was a nice little town. All right, well, Kristian, back to you.
All right,
take it away.
Let's go back.
Here, I'm gonna put you back in the driver's seat. Well,
oh dear, no. All right, okay. So back to our 85 Toy Fair. So the Cobra Moray came out, and what I wanted to point out, and why I put this with the snowcat photo, is the Cobra Moray only holds 9 figures. It is twice the size
so
of the snowcat, but can't hold as many people because Cobra is at least intelligent enough to put everyone inside the vehicle.
Am I misinterpreting that picture, or do they have both Buzzer and Torch in the little gun encampment?
Yes, they do. They are snuggling.
Yes. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that only holds 1 figure.
Well, not if they're really friendly.
That's how they get their 9.
Well, that's what I was wondering, is where do these 9 go? Because you can get 4 in the back. You've got a pilot, a co-pilot, 1 person up in the gunner station. Where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Where are the other 2?
I think there's 3 foot pegs on each side in the back.
Oh, are there?
Yeah, I'm fairly certain. I have to look.
I can't tell from here. I mean, you could get 15 on there if you really wanted to. I mean, let's be honest.
I also figured, and I guess I need to pay attention to the rest of the photos to see, you have all 3 Dreadnoks in this photo. Yes. So maybe that's why they had to cram Torch in there. Because you've got
to display him.
Your TV mainstays of Destro and the Baroness, but
and then random Crimson Guardsmen and hanging out in the
we
back.
got to cram in the new figures.
Oh, I think actually, from looking at that first picture, I think it's just an illusion, and Torch is actually standing in the back of the boat, and it just looks like he and.
Oh yeah, because you're right. But I like it better than he's sitting in Buzzer's lap.
I do too.
Matter of fact, that's how I'm going to put mine on the shelf now. And then the lamprey, who were they even in the cartoon?
Yeah, they
were
appeared.
they okay?
But you only ever saw them driving the thing.
Piloting this. That was it.
Jeff Butler, human torpedo vipers get volunteered to fill out the moray. Very true. That's where all of the annoying, just graduated high school Cobra people start.
Yeah.
All right.
Unless you count the morays who were technically.
Okay, wait, real quick. This is from halfbattle.com, which is a phenomenal website, by the way. We've talked about it before. According to halfbattle.com, which is the ultimate internet resource for appearances in the Sunbow cartoon, the lamprey appeared in 5 seconds of the Pyramid of Darkness, episode 4, driving morays for Tomax's rescue, and that's it.
Well, and
I guess you sold the moray already. You don't need to sell the lamprey with them.
And with the other vehicles that come with the figure through the catalog, they name drop whoever the driver is. But I notice now this one says includes Cobra Pilot. So either they didn't know by this point they were going to call it lamprey, or that's just how insignificant they were. So next up, we have the flight pod. We have a blue version of the snake armor,
which is that mine just floating in the mist.
Right. So according to that, includes aerial mine. So this was my question for the two of you and all of the watchers. Did you ever think that that's what it did? Because I legit thought it was dropped, but I guess that underneath part is some sort of anti-gravity.
I always thought it was jets.
Oh,
and it even holds up with the newer flight pod because it has the port for the blast effect on the bottom of it. So yeah, I always thought of that as like a little jet that would just like nautical mines that float, or they're
right.
Well, they don't float, but they're in the water, chained up or whatever. These would just hover in the air, and you'd have to not fly into them.
My favorite thing about that mine is that for everything else in classified, we scaled up, except we scaled down on that mine.
Right.
When they did the trouble bubble, like the trouble bubble, the new trouble bubbles, mines are smaller than the ones that came with the original trouble bubble.
You know what's funny though? In doing my review of the retro Beachhead, which also goes up on the Needless Things YouTube channel, classified Beachhead's backpack is barely bigger than the original Beachhead's backpack.
Huh.
And there've been a couple like
very
that.
Large, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So that blue snake, I have been trying to find one for
I know, right?
4 years.
That's the thing.
They're impossible to find.
So there was, at the time of putting the slideshow together, there was one on eBay, and it was, I want to say it was at least over 100. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, I don't ever remember the blue snake. So when I don't have seen them pop up online, I thought it was like all the other 3D printers out there, that do Tiger Force snake or Python Patrol snake. I just thought it was, here's somebody that printed one out in blue plastic. Didn't know.
I remember it was in the catalogs, and I do remember seeing it in the stores when I was a kid. But it's weird because it's, as far as I know, it it wasn't made in any shorter quantities than anything else during that time. So it's bizarre to me that it is one of the most rare pieces of GI Joe. Unless it was, so this says vintage
Well,
rare Sears 85 Blue Cobra Snake. So
well, and this also says that an assortment, because this was the other thing I noticed about this on another slide. So this assortment includes 24 flight pods. I think that's 8 claws and 4 snakes per case. So they definitely
Oh,
weren't made in large numbers.
oh, well, I guess that is why. That's
Uh,
odd because
wh-
they just didn't short pack stuff like that back then as much.
well, I didn't think so either, but after reading through a lot of the descriptions, at least they put assortment numbers in with a lot of the vehicles.
Mm,
But Wojtek says, was that Blue Snake a Sears Wish Book exclusive? So that's the thing. It at this stage of Toy Fair, it very well could have come to that. They
well,
could have
yeah,
said,
it might have ended up that way.
right. They could say an assortment has this many, but then when Sears saw it and Sears says, well, we want that sweet, sweet G.I. Joe flag money, then they offer a higher price to Hasbro to therefore, have it for themselves. So also in 85, you get the 2-page spread of the Ultimate G.I. Joe vehicle playset, The Flag. The way they sell this, whoops, that is not what I wanted to
spoiler.
do. Right? You can, man, you could tell like this is what they're pushing because no other product got a 2-page spread like this except for the figures. Things that I found interesting was if you look, it is packaged only one per case, which makes sense, but 30, that's either a 36 or 38 pounds is how much that weighed.
Honestly, I'm surprised it's not a little bit more.
That picture
Wow.
too. Like
Because
that
those deck
picture wound up
pieces,
in several pieces of promotional material because I have seen that same picture. Like if you look for like flag promotional pictures, there's like imagine being on the deck of this aircraft carrier. There's actual like magazine spreads that have it and stuff too with that exact same picture being used.
Yep.
So look real quick to go back to the Blue Snake. It does not appear it was exclusive to anywhere. It was
Oh,
just monumentally short packed.
Huh.
wow. Wow. The something else I noticed is that nowhere in the catalog on any of the products was there any SRP. So, I'd still be curious what, when Hasbro was there, obviously they're telling each store, oh, the price would be X. And then the store would obviously then have to figure out, oh, then we're going to have to mark it up to this in order to sell it. So it wouldn't have that final price on there. But man, I would love to find out what that was. Colonel Wreckship 85 says, I wonder if these kids got to keep any of these toys, or if Hasbro was like, thanks for playing with our toys, now get out.
This was probably a prototype. Like this wouldn't even have been the final product. So
Yeah.
Right. I would imagine they might have got some older figures, like maybe stuff that was offered via mail away. But I doubt that anything that they used in the shoot that day, even if it was, like the Dragonfly obviously had already been out. I doubt they got to keep any of
Yeah,
that.
the shark had been out because that was in '84. The Skyhawk had been out for a while. Sky Striker, obviously. All those vehicles were ones that were available.
Yeah, their parents got the paycheck. That's what the kids got.
They probably got, a $15 check or something like that to have their kids in there.
Woj almost 4 decades of distribution issues. Truth. Okay, so next up, because we all know I love some diorama pieces. And 85 had some of the coolest with the Cobra bunker, the checkpoint. And this was the page where I first noticed, they list the assortments. So a case would have included 6 each of the air defense, the checkpoint, the Cobra bunker, and 2 of the continuing.
So the ones that were from '84.
Yeah, so the howitzer, the watchtower, the bivouac. So keep in mind when we see, like when you're looking on yojo.com or 3D Joe's and they're saying, this figure or this playset, came out in 1985 and was discontinued in 1987. Well, probably by 1986, it was not on the shelves at the same way that it was in 85.
Kristian, I'm going to make a little adjustment to your presentation here.
Go for it.
Don't mind me. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine finding like one of these storage deals or whatever. Imagine coming across in 2024 a fresh case, unopened case of these.
So was it last year? It was either last year or a year before. There was a gentleman who used to work for Kenner, and he decided to, because he was getting older, to finally get rid of his storage unit. And that is exactly what it was. He opened up a case and it was just like, here's all the mask vehicles that would have been shipped in that untouched. And you feel like, man, all this time has passed. Stuff like that doesn't happen anymore. No, there's some Hasbro employees that I'm pretty sure have.
Oh, yeah. Sitting cases on these, I'm sure. Silent Interlude says, I would want to open all of them. And that brings up a good point. Okay, so none of us are vintage mint in box collectors.
No.
So what would you do if you found a case where you've got at least 2 of each of these?
Me personally?
Would you just flip all of the mint in box ones to get them out of your sight? Would you open one of each, flip the rest?
I apologize to the credo of Cobra, but I got to be honest here. If I did get my hands on something like that, I would keep one for myself and I would open each one, but I would very daintily, like my X-Acto box is cutting the tape on the box, because I probably would still keep the box for these. But then if any of my collecting friends needed any one of these, I would absolutely let them know, like, hey, I've got this. Do you want it? Because that's just, for as cheesy as it sounds, that's just too magical of an experience to come across to, I think, flip something.
I'd have to just get rid of them because they would be too tempting to have with me. I would sell them and then use the money to go buy good open versions of the same thing.
I would do unboxing videos for one of each. And I would be sure to just rip the box open just to get more comments on the video. Like I would
that works.
like 3-year-old style, just rip the box in half and let all the parts go and then put it together.
You would make so many people angry on the internet.
Oh, such good engagement.
Oh man. Yeah, I also
Oh, and then wait. Then you know what I do? I would give away one of each, and I would write the person's name on the box who won it
in Sharpie.
Yes.
No,
so Posca paint pen, high quality. It'd be Posca paint pen.
Throwing it out there to our watchers and our listeners. When it comes to these smaller play sets, which ones were your favorite? Like, you walk into the store and you see all of these on the shelf. Are you walking away with a Cobra Bunker? Are you walking away, or are you wanting to walk away with a Checkpoint Alpha, but your mom is like, put that back. That's boring. It's a gate.
The only one of these I had when I was a kid was the Checkpoint, and to this day, it's my favorite of these, just because I love the functionality of it.
Yeah.
Because when we had a living room, it was like you had like a formal living room off of my main house, and like for the first few years we lived in the house, there was no furniture in it, so it was essentially like my playroom. And I would set the entire room up as Fort Wadsworth, and that was the entrance. So I'd make little roads out of like Lincoln logs to make the little curbs, and that would be where you'd have Law standing there, checking badges and all that stuff, so people could get into the base. And I would use cardboard and things like that to build the whole fort.
I think parents underestimate how much fun checkpoints are.
This is tough because, I mean, right out of the gate, air defense. I get it. Noel loves it next to his headquarters, and I understand.
It looks good next to the HQ. That's really the only purpose.
Right. But compared to all of these, it's just the play value is minimal.
The bunker, the fact that it was designed so two of them can go back to back, and that's not something I even understood until a few years ago.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Well, and also the fact that the bunker blows up, is pretty great. The Mountain Howitzer is awesome, but compared to the play value of the other sets, I think we got to strike that one too. And it's really tough. Those remaining 4, all 4 of those are great.
Mm-hmm.
But in rebuilding my collection, the first one that I bought, the one that I saw as a priority, because I wasn't looking at these as a group like this. I was just going with what was in my head and how much I wanted certain things. The first thing I bought out of all of these was the Bivouac. That to me was I've got to have one of these ASAP. I need it. So I think that's probably my favorite. And then the Watchtower, and I love the Checkpoint. It's awesome. I still don't have one in my collection, but part of it is because it's kind of hard to find them in decent shape for a decent price.
And to find all of the accessories that go with it, because that's
right.
Well, the same thing with the Bivouac, because there's a bunch of stuff.
I got lucky on that one.
Yeah, that doesn't. I mean, it's just loose. It just hangs out somewhere. It sort of hangs on to that little rack, or one of the pieces hangs on to the pole that supports the tent.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, those parts are just loose. And like when I had stuff like that, because I had some of like the little ammo dump and those other little small sets like that, and all those parts, they just got mixed in with play.
Right.
So,
well, and that's the thing. You have to be buying the Bivouac from somebody who knows what it is in order for them to even understand that those parts all go with it.
Right.
It's kind of like the night landing. Like, it's so easy. You see night landings all the time that don't have all the parts because they don't necessarily fit or make sense with it. Like, you have to know those things go with it.
So when I got my bivouac, it was listed as complete. And when I looked at the photo, I was like, yep, everything is there. And then when I opened it up, I realized, wait a minute, this antenna doesn't fit into the radio. What they sent me, I believe, is the antenna, like the flag from a stun with the flag part cut off, because this thing is about that big. And obviously in all the photos, the radio antenna is not.
But my thinking is that it doesn't. I'm not going to be able to get it without knocking a bunch of stuff over. I don't think the antenna fits in the radio all that well anyway.
But then that's, it did become
not
a concern, because I was like, when you start looking at Breaker and Mainframe and all these other figures that come with stuff, it just blends in. But checking in with the Audible Army real quick. So Colonel Wreckship, a toss-up between the checkpoint or
Whoa. What did you just say?
Well, yeah, he said at the beginning.
Before
you commandeered Cobra Commander Signal, Wreckship 85 is a Colonel
demoted
tonight.
Demoted.
Wow. Man.
I'm just kidding, Wreckship. You're a colonel in my heart.
Silent Interlude, Motor Defense Unit, which isn't in this photo, but I did finally get a complete one at Joe Fest this year, and my gods, I love it.
Well, that's
that was
the battlefield,
right?
Yeah, so that was the different class, because there's battle stations, and they had those were the battlefield accessories, because that was things like the Cobra firing range and mortar defense and
machine gun emplacement.
Yeah, they were a little bit
whatever
smaller.
Those things are called.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
with the hedgehogs.
Setting up the bivouac with my forward observer and motor defense unit, like finally having those sandbags to put in front of everything. I'm now on a goal to get all of the affordably priced sandbags I can from eBay, because that was way more fun than I would have thought.
Yeah, those were I loved those when I was a kid. Yeah,
I'm so mad because I have two that
don't have the
male parts, but not the female parts right here.
Oh, that's brutal.
And that's one of those things there that I don't see a lot of 3D printers doing it in O-ring scale. I see them in classified scale, but I would love to have a bunch of those. I thought I saw. Okay, so Silent Interlude, Watchtower, TTBP, and Flag are clearly meant to go together. And Dave, you mentioned I think it was you, that the Cobra bunker was meant to explode.
Yeah.
So I will say, I don't think the plastic ages very well, because that is one that I had, and when it took a slight tumble, one of the side panels just shattered.
Oh no!
Well, and so I just had to replace one of my side panels, because that gun that wedges in there, you have to pry it into that really brittle plastic, and it does not bend once it gets. So I was very gently, and it just exploded, like it just a million pieces.
And you have to be careful, because since they, I guess, re-released that, maybe with like Pursuit of Cobra or something, because I bought a replacement side panel for a fairly decent price off of eBay, but it was a different shade of blue. So then I was like, okay, well now I have to get replacements for all of them so that it matches.
A lot of that too is that blue plastic changes color over time.
Oh,
like blue's one of those colors. Like that's actually Lego has that problem with their blue parts. They change colors over time as well.
Yorktown Joe just got back from running errands. Those are great play sets. I remember setting the Outpost Defender and Watchtower together for a small fort. That's pretty much still how I do. I don't have a Watchtower. That's, I think, going to be on my goal for next year.
The Watchtower and the Checkpoint really are both kind of adorable at how small they are when you think about them, and because the Watchtower, you're really about 4 feet higher than you normally would be.
Well, it's funny because if you look at the back of the packaging, or no, some of the dioramas they've done, I think the Tiger Force 2-pack, Roadblock and Tripwire, have a Watchtower on the back. It's not this one, which was very smart because then everybody would think it was coming. And it's massive compared to this one. And it makes you realize, like, oh, this thing's a bit wee.
Yeah.
This is like a child, like, this is like what your dad built in the backyard. Like, yeah, there's your Watchtower.
Yeah.
But it's great. It's great. It's a great little toy. That and the Checkpoint both, like, they're awesome. Really, with all of these, the play value is so good, and they expand. You know, we talk about it all the time, that world building.
Yeah. All right. So also new in 85, the transportable tactical battle platform.
So much play value.
You get used to seeing pictures of things online, and I kind of, in my head, I have an image of the battle platform, and obviously this one is so pristine,
right,
and crisp, and it just, I mean, I already love it. I think it's a great toy, has a lot of playability, but man, these photos just make me love it all that much more. Like, I know it's very, very hard to find one with the glass in good shape, but
well, Noel, you got one, didn't you?
Yeah, I got one that had. I haven't gotten a chance to really go through that entire box yet. But the one that I have, my childhood one, still has its glass intact.
See, that's
and not warped.
It's warped, but if you wedge it in there good enough, it will stay.
Yeah, I'm still kind of on the hunt for a better windscreen. Mine's okay, but like you said, it's warped, but it stays. Although I gotta say, a higher priority is a windscreen for the Whale.
I always forget that it came with the guns.
Yeah,
the pews, that blasters, because they just got mixed in with all my other Joe weapons and went into a box. And a lot of them were just the same ones that came with figures in slightly, I think it's like Grunt's M16, but a very slightly different grayish black color.
Right. And that's, I didn't even remember because I got mine off of Mercari and I made sure it had all of the major parts. It was one of those coupon deals that it was like $25 off $100 item or something like that. So it was a great deal. And when it got here and it had a bunch of weapons in it, I was like, oh, this is weird. And then I saw the weapons rack and I was like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot that was even a thing, that it came with its own weapons. Because like you said, I just mixed them in with everything else. Let's see. I'm going to do inventory real quick because I do want to see what exactly it came with. So it has Snow Job's rifle, Airborne's rifle. Oh, I'm saying rifle. I shouldn't. Grunt's blaster, Stalker's blaster, and Ripcord's blaster rifle. And you're right. They're all in like a gray that no other weapons were quite in. Like, it's a distinctive gray. And the ones that I got with my tactical battle platform were not, like, I've got a blue one. They were just a mix.
Yeah.
the no longer Colonel wreck ship, next HasLab tactical battle platform. Only if it's for 3 3/4 inch scale. Would I love one for classified? Yes.
Where would it go?
It would be so huge.
I mean, it would be the size of a kitchen table.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. You replace your kitchen table. You just eat dinner off the tactical battle platform.
It's the tactical coffee table.
And Silent Interlude says, I have never even bothered with the guns from any of those sets. They're all accessory packed weapons to me. Well, it's a good thing they didn't make them for you.
Yeah, I think I threw all of those like extra weapons like that, all the battle pack weapons and everything were just in that storage bin on the headquarters. Everything just went in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also agree with you though, Silent Interlude. Like, be it Star Wars, GI Joe, anything that wasn't a figure that came with extra weapons, it all just went into the carrying case and got mixed in. Yorktown Joe wants to know: are the TBP rockets similar to the Sky Strikers? Sadly, never owned the TBP.
They're
think
similar, but they're not exactly the same.
Yeah, I think they're bigger, aren't they? Well, maybe not. All right, hang on. I got to do some research.
Okay.
I will solve this question.
And while he's going there, Silent Interlude. All right, friends, I've got to take off. I'm looking forward to your reactions once the Rattler is announced as O-Ring. Spoiler alert. Have a great night, our friend, and we will be talking to you soon. But
there would be an uproar if that were an O-Ring classified or an O-Ring HasLab.
It would make me so happy, though. That would be that last minute change, that little spark of chaos to say, what? You guys just assumed? So, but also, speaking of forgetting, I also always forget the legs are adjustable, because whenever you see these at conventions or on people's shelves, there's no need for it. So I
got tons of play value out of it because I had like the terraced backyard when this came out, so I was able to, to set it up in weird positions. The only thing was that I could never get it to where the ramp worked right. Like I always wish the ramp was a little longer.
All right.
Okay.
What you got, Dave?
So this is the original tactical battle platform missile. And this is now, I do not have an original Sky Striker missile, but this is from one of the re-releases. And I think the original is the same way. They are very slightly different for seemingly no reason.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It's kind of smaller.
But that could just be because this is from one of the reissues.
Well, right above my head.
Oh, do you have an original Sky Striker?
I have the original Sky Striker floating above me. Let me see.
I feel like they're probably the same.
Yeah, it's the same. It's got that nub at the end.
Okay, so it does have like the ridges around the side and okay. So yeah, different for no good reason.
There you go. Audible Interlude, solving mysteries.
40-year-old mysteries.
All right. And I believe, this is the last one. The only thing I wanted to point out about this one is, I mean, we all love the original GI Joe headquarters.
Is that the Mauler doesn't fit into the tank bay?
Yes, actually. The fact that they want to push the 1985 vehicles, so obviously the catalog is going to showcase them, but the 85 vehicles weren't made.
Yeah, it was
with the headquarters in mind.
The first time I noticed the difference in size between the Vamp and the Ostriker was when I tried to put my Ostriker in the Jeep bay, and I was like, "Oh, this is such a bigger vehicle than the Vamp." You would think it would be smaller.
Right.
Yeah. Nope. So, even though they don't change the box art for the headquarters, because I mean you've already invested in that, but I just got such a kick out of having the Mauler just kind of hanging out in the back.
Well, and I appreciate that the headquarters was still relevant. Like they were still
Yeah.
treating it as a relevant item in 1985. Like
Despite the fact
that's
that you
really cool.
had two other very large GI Joe play sets that were out at the time. One extremely large,
True.
and then one the tactical battle platform, which was a bit smaller.
Yeah.
Than the headquarters.
Yeah, because I included in the pages that I didn't put into this, you had the whale still this year, so there was a lot of bigger, you know, vehicles and play sets. So that's actually a really good point. This really could have. I wonder what the quantity was that they made this in then.
And there was so much stuff. You look at how much stuff GI Joe stuff was on the shelves in 1985.
Well, and think about how
this
relative.
Skyscraper with 83 vehicles, and so was the Dragonfly.
And this also doesn't include. I originally had it in there, but I was like, "Ooh, this is starting to go on too long." This was the year that you had the Listen and Learns.
Listen and Fun.
I found out, according to this catalog, there's actually 3 different delineations of them, because some of them were just a tape, some of them were a tape in a book, some of them were a tape in a figure. You also had these ceramic figures, paint GI Joe. They it was all of the Hasbro characters. So you had like My Little Pony and all that. You had new color forms, coloring books. Like there are so many pages in this catalog, and GI Joe was the front part of this catalog, so it obviously was the biggest thing. My Little Pony had more pages, so in terms of numbers, it might have been bringing in a bigger profit per se, but this definitely was a very, very good year for GI Joe. A last comment here from Yorktown Joe. Gung Ho is safe. The Mauler will get stuck before running him over. Because yes, in this photo, Gung Ho actually very clearly is standing right in front of it. So that, everyone, is the 1985 Toy Fair catalog. And so so now we take it to the
Limit
part where
time.
you, the listeners, are involved with, there we go, Sound Off, where we ask you all to submit your questions, both at audibleinterlude.com and on our Instagram. And there was
audiblearmy.com.
audiblearmy.com. I always do that. I'm
branding.
I know. I need it stamped onto my forehead. So I did not, unlike Dave, because I was trying to create chaos and technical issues for this show, I did not type out the questions. So I will read some of them, though. So first up, we have our good pal Gary Mitchell. Okay, With Dave off on his special mission Texas, what group of, not usually leaders, Joe and Cobras, should get their shot at leadership of the pit/terror drone? So, Noel?
I always like to harken back to that one episode where Cobra tried to create chaos by putting, was it like Shipwreck and Lifeline?
Yeah.
And who else was it in charge of G.I. Joe? So yeah, I would want like, I essentially just want like either Leatherneck and Wetsuit, who are just bickering all the time. Just the two of them running the show the whole time for G.I. Joe. Just for the lulls. For Cobra, that's a tough one, because there's already like these internal power structures. But to go on a little bit more serious route, I do like some of the storytelling they did with Baroness taking up the role as Cobra Commander. So we'll go with Baroness.
Okay. Dave?
So for the Joes, and with this, I didn't go with groups. I went with singular because there can only be one leader. For the Joes, I say we put Super Trooper in that slot. As we've discussed in the past, he is a PR specialist. He is very much a figurehead type of person. I think he could represent the Joes to the media in a very positive manner and be, again, that figurehead that they need in his bright, shining armor. How cool is Super Trooper to the American public? They'd love him. And then for the Cobras, look, obviously Cobra Commander has some budgeting issues. He's out of control with his spending. We really need to get things back in line. We need somebody who can sit down and plan out an annual budget for Cobra, and that's why I am putting Raptor in charge of Cobra, because he can really get things
totally
in line.
Took mine.
Did I?
that for the exact same reasons. Because I kept thinking, like, the Terrordrome, trust me, it is expensive to run that.
That's
right. I mean, they just have to have a Cobra-thon.
That's hilarious.
Brilliant. And for the Joes, I compared to you guys, I was boring. I went with Breaker because as a kid, that's who always manned the base and was giving everybody orders from my place. So,
no, I like it. Single point of contact. It makes sense.
Okay, so next up from our good pal, Private Wreck Ship 85.
Wow.
We all blame Dave. Blame G.I. Joe. Cobra made him a colonel. I'm just putting that out there. We all know and love Payload, and I feel like at this point he could be the leader of Space Force in the modern era. Give a code name for a new recruit that would be under his command, defending our sovereign outer space. Bonus if you can give him a primary space specialty. So did you guys today?
Oh, yeah. I'm on
it. Go for it.
Okay. So obviously there are very basic needs that you will have when you are in outer space defending our sovereign spacehood. So my operative is codename Moontang, and their primary specialty is space cook. So
okay, you do need that.
They bring the tang with them, and they know every recipe. They're like the Bubba Gump of tang. They can cook anything with tang.
Wow.
So Moontang will sit there in the space kitchen and talk about, look, I can make fillet of fish with some tang. I can make you straight beverage tang. I can cook up some tang shrimp. and on and on and on.
He's like the Bubba Gump of Tang.
That's exactly what I just said.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, Mike.
everybody,
Cut out for a second. I didn't realize that you'd already made the joke.
Dave may think that, or Dave may not realize just how close to reality this is. So I'm going to recommend everyone go watch the YouTube channel Tasting History with Max Miller and his Tang episode, because when that craze hit, there were entire cookbooks devoted to using Tang in recipes.
I am aware.
And there's a large segment of the population that believes that Tang was developed by NASA, but it was not. Mine is way less exciting than that.
Well, how are you going to get more exciting than Moontang?
And then Tang.
Mine's name is Splashdown, and he is your re-entry specialist. So he's the one that has
that might be dirtier than Moontang.
It might be, but yes, he's the one that has to be able to figure out the physics of bringing the ship back down to Earth. Because that was always like the most fascinating thing to me as a kid, was like how much technology went into those plates on the underside of the ship so they could withstand all of that friction.
That's so good. I'm surprised it doesn't already exist. Like, I'm surprised there's not already a Splashdown.
Well, that was a character. I had like my own line of fake Transformers as a kid.
Yeah.
That I just created my own little storyline, because I didn't have enough Transformers to tell the whole story, so I just incorporated different lines and I gave them different names, and sometimes I even just made up new characters that didn't have toys for. And that was one he actually turned into the G.I. Joe Gemini capsule.
Nice.
That's was his alt mode, and I just had to pretend that his little robot mode turned into that. But his name was Splashdown.
I like it.
Nice. So mine actually has two specialties, and his code name is Moonwalker. So obviously, you need someone who can go outside of your spaceship or shuttle and do repairs. So he is an expert spacewalk technician, but his secondary specialty, and I can't wait till we one day get a file card for Lieutenant Colonel Mongoose to judge this, but his second specialty is zero G breakdancing. Because I was thinking of this as 1985-86.
Yeah, of course.
So
does he have one white rhinestone glove?
His suit is white. He has to do the opposite. He has one kind of rhinestone black glove, and his little jetpack that lets him boosh to wherever he needs to go is nicknamed Annie.
Is it okay?
Jeff Butler says file name Mike L. Jackson.
Yes.
Does he report to Captain EO?
Or is he a captain?
Maybe his last name is EO.
So those were the ones from audiblearmy.com. So please be sure and sign up for our Patreon if you 100% want to make sure that your question gets read when we have time. So now, from the questions posted to our Instagram, I'm going to have to start off with a little bit more Cobra Chaos, because we very clearly tell you questions. So from
no, I mean, we say, what do you want to talk about?
Well,
true. Question.
True. But when it's Cobra, we're playing by Jeopardy.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So Stapes and Pape, Stapes and Pape, I apologize if I am butchering your screen name. If there's no white border on the O-rings from Super 7, we riot.
I think we have a pretty good idea that they're going to do it.
I think they're going to look exactly like the reactions.
Yeah.
But the correct answer would have been, what is if there is no white border? Also, from Silent Interlude, what new products do you think will be unveiled at Comic-Con?
Which, by the way, well, go ahead.
I still say the HasLab is going to be a 3 3/4 Rattler.
All right, Silent Interlude. I would appreciate it if you would not get high when you put your input in at Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram, because that is silly nonsense talk.
It might be, but I so badly want that to be true.
Oh, I would prefer it 100%. Well, I don't want it to be a Rattler at all. My preference is no Rattler, but it's, let's be real.
Yeah. As far as what other new products,
I think they'll announce another Vamp-sized vehicle. I don't think it'll be a repaint of the Vamp. I think we will get more repaints of the Vamp, but I don't think that would be a San Diego Comic-Con announcement. I think we'll see something like the Water Moccasin or another Vamp,
like an Striker.
I'm thinking as they've been. I mean, the Thunder Machine has been mentioned so many times that I think it's inevitable. And the way they've been pushing out the Dreadnoks lately, I'm thinking we might get a Monkey Wrench reveal, if nothing else, a name, maybe a Road Pig finally, and a Thunder Machine.
Well, they did announce Road Pig
by name, right? So we might get the render of Road Pig.
I am hoping that we'll get some more green shirts. I'm ready. Like, we obviously saw in the teaser with Glinda, like, there's Flash's backpack. So
I
Flash or Grand Slam, I would love to have them announced. And I would also like something more, Trouble Bubble sized. I saw somebody in the comments earlier mentioning it. I mean, I would really love it if they did announce a Pogo.
Or Pogo, Claw, Ferret.
The Claw.
Not Ferret, Fang.
Snake Armor.
Snake Armor.
Yeah,
there's a lot of little stuff.
Yeah.
Or the Claw.
And we still haven't gotten an announcement because the SMS was unveiled last year.
Oh yeah.
We haven't gotten the MMS announcement at all yet, but we know it's going to happen eventually. So
you know what we didn't talk about? We're just not going to get to, but Gridiron showed some new towables that I really prefer because they're smaller. I think they just look fantastic. Because the MMS and SMS are so big and classified, but these were, I don't know, I really liked the look of them. I did not look at the price, however, so I don't know.
Wreck Ship 85. Once again, how fun would it be if Grand Slam came with eggs, bacon, and pancakes?
Oh my gosh, that would be incredible.
And it would go along with Dave's Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity that he's got on his profile today.
That's right. Always rooting and tooting. The four things I'm always doing: hydrating and gyrating and rooting and tooting. Nonstop.
And also, he says, I'm expecting the other two 60th figures in some capacity. Lenny confirmed they do a full reveal of Nemesis during the end of the Dragonfly update. I was starting to wonder if they had just forgotten about the 60th because we haven't heard anything.
I wouldn't be mad if they just didn't put any more out.
But man, people love those figures. So,
Yorktown Joe, shameless plug. My Cobra Convergence 8 YouTube video drops tomorrow morning. Everybody, check out Yorktown Joe on YouTube. A proud member or proud participant in Cobra Convergence 8.
Yes. All right. And so lastly, we have from Sergeant Action. How about a couple of rounds of Fight, Marry, Kill? Round 1, Joe Team. Round 2, Dreadnoks. Round 3, Cobra. Or I think we assign one to each of us and do it as a lightning round.
Let's respect our
So
time constraints here.
Noel gets the Dreadnoks.
Okay. Am I giving the examples, or are you asking me? I don't know
Well,
how exactly we're going to do this.
out of all the Dreadnoks, who would you fight? Who would you marry? And who would you kill?
Oh,
Okay. So we're not doing like
okay.
just picking 3 and doing it that way.
That's what I thought we were doing, because I think it's funnier if you only have 3 and then you have to pick. So I think Noel chooses 3. I think Noel chooses 3 Dreadnoks, and then we each have to say
Fight,
which
marry,
one.
kill.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So my 3 Dreadnoks: Zanzibar, Naugahyde, and Monkey Wrench.
Okay. Fight, marry, kill. All right. I'm going to go first. Sorry, Kristian. I just jumped ahead.
Please.
I'm going to kill Monkey Wrench because he's the most worthless of all the Dreadnoks. I'm going to fight Zanzibar because he's got that top knot that I can just grab onto and punch him in the face till he goes down. And I'm going to marry Naugahyde because what a great provider he would be.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm with you in fighting Zanzibar because, yeah, there are no cool pirates except for Steve the pirate. So I'm going to kill Naugahyde because Deke, he's just so annoying. And I'm going to marry Monkey Wrench because free oil changes for life. My
See,
car
if we had
is
done this
always
the
going
original
to
way,
run fine.
if we had done this the original way that we were saying that I would just pick one of each for myself, I'd have to say I'd married Heart Wrencher because my wife does a Heart Wrencher costume. Aw.
Well, and I figured.
We don't play that way around here. we got to make things difficult,
right?
Or
and this is definitely the preferable way because this is what I was thinking we were going to do is throw out 3 names. All right,
Dave. I'm giving you the Joes.
The Joes, okay. So the 3 I am throwing out there that you guys have to choose from are Beachhead, Big Lob, and Lifeline.
All right. I'll go first, I guess. Beachhead, Big Lob, and Lifeline. I'm marrying Lifeline because Lifeline is going to take care of me. He's going to make sure that I'm in sickness and in health. I'm going to be well. I'm probably going to have to fight Big Lob because I don't know. I don't want to fight Beachhead. I just feel like he would be a dirty fighter. But I have to figure out a way. I'd have to figure out a way to kill Beachhead somehow. So there you go.
Yeah, I definitely am marrying Lifeline for the exact same reasons because he's going to keep you alive. I'm torn though. I feel like I'm going to kill Big Lob because I have no sort of emotional connection or attachment to him at all. And I'm going to fight Beachhead and hope that it goes like a standard comic book fight where we fight for a good few minutes and then realize we're both on the same side and unite.
That's fair. Fight, friendship, freedom.
That's right.
Yep.
That's how it goes.
All right. So lastly, Cobra. So I'm going to give you Globulus. Fred 7 and Major Blood.
Oh gosh.
Oh Lord. Globulus, Fred 7, Major Blood. All right. I will fight Major Blood because I kind of feel like he wouldn't be as good at hand-to-hand combat, even though he has that robot arm or whatever it is. I'm gonna marry Fred 7 because clearly he has a good domestic life, living in Springfield.
Good point.
Don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna have to find a way to kill Globulus.
Okay. I have kind of an opposite take on that. I'm going to fight Fred 7 because I think Major Blood would be tremendous at hand-to-hand combat, given all of his time in prisons and service and whatever else. I think Fred 7, because of the domestic nature of his assignment, may be a little softer than Major Blood, and I definitely don't want to fight Globulus. I'm going to have to find a way to kill Major Blood, and I'm going to marry Globulus because he's a freaking emperor. Why would you not marry the emperor? Now, granted, I'm going to have to get used to bugs, which is horrifying, but guess what? If I end up in Houston, I'm going to have to get used to that anyway. So
you live in Atlanta, so you're already used to
it. We've been pretty fortunate with our bugs.
Oh man!
All this rain brings in the cockroaches.
Jeff Butler brings up a good point. I think that all of us missed. Marry Big Lob and share that NBA money.
Yeah.
Now, was he in the
point.
NBA or was he just like some wannabe basketball guy? Because I don't know if they ever established that.
I don't think they could legally say NBA.
Did they? Well, we never got a file card, at least not until modern time.
So right.
That's what happens when you never make the toy.
Oh, right. Well, I'm going to turn it back over to our... Oh, wait. No, we do have one last thing. We'll do them very quickly. Do you guys have a Joe and Tell? Because I sure do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Noel.
So, as I've been saying, I've been going through and reconfiguring all my Joe stuff and getting things back together. And you start looking at some of these figures you haven't put up in a while, and you make assessments like, man, I like this when I was a kid. It's not one of my favorites now, or maybe this figure's grown on me. But sometimes you're looking at figures. We just talked about them just a minute ago. But man, I'm sitting there looking at this thing, and I was like, I cannot stand this figure. I cannot stand Globulus. I just look at him and I'm just messing with him. Like, I just cannot stand this figure. And so I said, I wonder if somebody on the internet sells stands for Globulus. And so sure enough, I went on to eBay and I got me this little nice clear acrylic stand. It's very nice. It clips on to him on his little snake body parts. And it allows him to... Can I get that in there? Here. Well, you can't really see it. It allows him to stand. But yeah, so I just wanted to share my little... Because, I've had this thing just in a bag forever because I had no place to really display him. But now he can fit on my shelf with the other Cobra Law. This is from a seller on eBay called Elite Stands. And as you can see, it's for Globulus. So... Globulus.
Nice.
But yeah, it's a very nice little, and it was like $12, so it wasn't bad at all.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Dave,
that's fine.
Are you
very, very quick?
So
ready or?
I just realized I don't have my Joe and Tell. It was supposed to get here today, And I just realized it was something I got off of Mercari that was not delivered, and the USPS website is down. So I don't know where my Joe and Tell is, but I'm sure.
Well,
I
while
can,
you're looking,
yeah,
I
you go
will
ahead.
go ahead and get the three of us back. Okay, so if you guys remember on our last live, Noel had his fun school police vamp, and I said, "Oh, the male gods are nice. I will have something to go along with that." So I have my very first Fun School Joe. So it is the Fun School dial tone, and his weapons come on a sprue. Love that. The packaging is, you can see it in my story on Instagram. Obviously, all in a different language, but it looks like somebody scanned packages and then put that. It's like a copy of a copy of a copy.
Like that Nine Inch Nails song,
Right? But honestly, I really, really like. I don't necessarily like him as dial tone. But as
he
a
looks very Deke.
Yes.
yeah, the colors are very, very saturated. The space helmet, and the thing is, I was reading online that the plastic that they made the helmets from are prone to splitting. So I'm not gonna take it off, but he is still rocking his killer mustache. If you can see it, my camera's not gonna go in focus. Yeah. So, it's the quality is much better than what I expected. I thought the plastic quality was going to be like the bootleg Transformers that you get. But it honestly feels like more of the independent, like, some of the Kickstarter O-ring figures that we've had. So, yeah, that's my Joe and Tell.
Nice.
Very nice.
Okay. So I do have something, and it's very exciting because when you come see one of the two panels that we're involved with at DragonCon, one is a live recording of Audible Interlude, and the other one, I don't know if I can announce yet, but we will be involved with two panels at DragonCon, and when you come see us, we will have this behind us.
Ooh.
The new official Audible Interlude live panel banner, and because Vistaprint had a sale, I also have some business cards now. Which
does it have rivets to hold it onto things?
No, it doesn't, because I don't like the look of the rivets. I would rather use
gator clips.
There are other ways to hold these things up. I think the rivets look weird for an indoor banner.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have volunteers at cons.
That's right, for them to stand there and hold it up. I've actually done that. I can't remember. It was one of the panels I did for the Classics track, like very early on. I said, I've got my banner. We don't have time to put it up. Oh, it was Red Ranger. I made Sean come up and just stand there holding it for a while. And then I was like, all right, I'm kidding. You don't have to do that.
All right.
There we go. Not bad. Not bad. I managed to scrape something together. And then now I'll have something for next week, maybe, if these hurricanes and whatnot will stop.
Yeah.
Hurricanes and nobody else pulls the plug at another internet security company.
Well, apparently it was coding. it was like one letter wrong in coding, and it blue screen of death everything.
Yeah, but it's funnier if you see the memes with the guy from Airplane pulling the plug.
Oh.
So that was Joe and Tell, brought to you by Slickalicious. Be sure to check out slickalicious.com.
Jeff Butler, I did that as a costume. If you want to bring his comment up.
Yeah. Well,
what just happened?
There.
Oh,
what?
we're both trying to do it.
I will stop. I will let you take over.
Yes, the Fun School windmill is the best because he has a giant fan on his back. And yes, I did that as a costume at DragonCon 2021, I believe.
No.
Is it
2022?
No, it was 2021. I'm
no,
pretty sure.
2021. You're right. You're right. Because that was the first Joe cosplay I saw you in where I knew who you were. All right, Dave, I'm going to let you take us out so you can plug every place they can find you.
All right. So everybody needs to check out audiblearmy.com. $1.99 a month gets you access to my show notes before the show, exclusive audio, exclusive video, early access to reviews on the Needless Things YouTube channel, all kinds of bonus content. Check out audiblearmy.com. Kristian, where can we find that toy photography that you do so well?
You can find me on Instagram under the name Legion Cub. And I'll see if I can dig out that windmill photo.
Oh, yeah. We'd like to share that on our socials. Noel, tell us a little bit about The Finest.
The Finest is an international G.I. Joe costuming group that raises money for a charity called Canines for Warriors. If you check us out at one of the events that we have around the country or even in other countries, and you can also help us raise money by going to our website, thefinestcc.com, or if you plan on joining up, go to the Finest Recruitment Center on Facebook.
Our music is by Andy Sanford of electricminnowmusic.com. So copyright trolls, stop filing claims on my videos. Check out Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram, G.I. Joe Audible on X. I've had a great time. I kind of taking it easy tonight. I enjoyed you guys running the show. Kristian, you did a fantastic job. I'm going to get back to rootin' and tootin'. Next week, we are back live because we will be doing a San Diego Comic-Con follow-up episode. So 2 live streams in a row because we got to do what we got to do for the news.
We got to talk about that O-ring rattler.
Yeah, we're not going to be talking about an O-ring rattler. Until next time, yo, Joe.
Cobra. Don't you wish you were us?